At any point, did you watch him and Tabitha have sex?
No.
Was Tabitha ever invited to watch you and Brodus have sex?
No.
Were you comfortable with the concept of a watcher?
No.
Late at night in Memphis, Tennessee, a doorbell rang at the home of Pastor Broads Perry. Within moments, gunshots echoed to the quiet neighborhood. A 36-year-old executive pastor, a third-generation minister beloved by his congregation, lay bleeding on the floor. His wife, Tabitha, had been shot too. And standing over them was Latasha Daniels, a clinical social worker who had just driven 3 hours from Mississippi with one purpose: revenge. "You broke my heart," she screamed as she fired.
Latasha Daniels is accused of firing several shots at Perry, the executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. The police report states Mrs. Perry let Daniels in their apartment late Thursday because she was a known acquaintance from Little Rock, Arkansas. The pastor apparently showed up 30 minutes later. His wife said Daniels began firing, shouting, "You broke my heart," as she was being escorted out of the couple's home. At one point, Daniels even began to reload the gun. Mrs. Perry was shot in the shoulder while checking on her husband, and police arrived in time to arrest Daniels at the scene.
Pastor Broads Perry wasn't just any victim. He was a man of faith, a leader in his community, a husband, but he was also living a secret life, one that involved Latasha, hidden relationships with other women, and claims of arrangements that nobody could agree on. When he decided to end things with Latasha, she couldn't accept it. She wouldn't accept it. Now, the question everyone wanted answered: what really happened between these three people? Was Tabitha aware of her husband's double life? Or was she blindsided? Did Latasha truly believe she had the right to take his life because he chose to walk away? What you're about to see is the actual trial testimony, raw, unfiltered, and shocking. The witnesses, the evidence, the conflicting stories, all laid bare in court. Before we dive in, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel, because this case will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, lies, and obsession. This is a true story of Pastor Broads Perry and the woman who refused to let him go.
I think I've gathered what it was about, yeah.
What did you gather it was about?
I gathered that it was about people who are in open marriages.
And is that something that you were interested in?
No.
Now, there was an ethical non-monogamy group that Brodus was in, right? His book club?
Right, apparently so.
And did you know about the chat group that he had with 2 other women regarding that book?
Not at the time. This is something I learned about maybe 2 years after his death. I knew that he was in a book club. I didn't know what kind of book club it was. To know Brodus, to know is that he's very, very much a nerd. I would say after he died, I probably gave away 1,000 books. So to say I'm in a book club didn't seem out of the ordinary to me.
So, did you know that he was on this, and this was on the Marco Polo app that he was talking to these women, right? Did you know that he was talking to people on that app?
I did know, because I asked him, why are you always on this app? And he said, well, you know, I'm in that book club, and instead of constantly typing back and forth, we just get on the video and chat about the books that we're reading.
And you saw him on there a lot?
Like, you know, when you log on, you can see who else is on. So I'm like, why are you always on the app?
Did Brodus ever talk to you about bringing a watcher into your relationship?
No.
Did he ever talk to you about Ms. Daniels being a watcher in your relationship?
No.
Did he ever talk to you about wanting to have a girlfriend outside of having you as his wife?
No.
Did you select Ms. Daniels for Brodus to have a relationship?
No.
I'd like to show you some videos, okay? And it will be clips mostly. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about those clips, okay?
Well, you know, I am at a place now where I want to expand this ethical non-monogamy, and your opinion matters to me because that we were in this relationship. But at the same time, you know, like I said from the outset, I want to be respectful, but I also want to let you know that, you know, your opinion matters. But at the same time, I don't want you to put me in a box, right? Because while we talked about it in theory, this is now the practice part. And with a tab being perfectly fine with, you know, the situation, because how I've handled and been honest and transparent and open with her with regard to this current relationship, me expanding it is not an issue for me. Basically, she told me, how you tell, we can talk about it when you think it's worth talking about. But the way that you handle this, I'm fine with not trust your judgment because you haven't given me a reason not to. But
So this clip is him talking about Latasha not being okay with the ethical non-monogamy, and you being perfectly on board with it. Was that true?
No.
Did you believe that Brodus was being open and transparent and honest with you about his relationship with Latasha?
What relationship?
He wasn't being open with you about his relationship with Latasha, right? That there was a relationship at all.
Right.
He was not transparent about that.
There was nothing, to my knowledge, there was no relationship.
And you never said, because he was so open and honest and transparent with you with his relationship with Latasha, that you were okay with him then adding another girlfriend?
No.
That didn't ever happen?
No.
And photos aren't an issue at home, but I get it. That ain't an issue. I have been though. So if we're talking, let's switch subject and get a little more serious. You know, for me, our agreements have been simple, right? No exes, nobody from Jacksonville, Florida, which is home for us, and nobody in the city that you live in, that currently live in, which means nobody in Memphis. That was the case, of course, in Little Rock, outside of Girlfriend, because Girlfriend is in Little Rock. The way that kind of happened is, short version, when she decided to open up the marriage and allow me to be open, but it's not her. Girlfriend is a therapist, right? And she didn't go to her for therapy, but she asked her some questions. And based on this therapy session she had with this other lady. And she was asking her some questions after she had just said, bro, is this what I'm gonna let you do? Blah, 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 you know, it is what it is. And from there, she asked her some questions. And so she was like, I just got a couple questions for you. And, you know, they would go play tennis together. She was one of my life group leaders. And so we had rapport, we had rapport. And she asked a question and was like, yeah, blase, blase, I'm thinking about this. And what do you think about this? Or what do you think X, Y, and Z could potentially become from? And I'm sorry, I'm looking to see who was in the cigar lounge because this is not what I really frequent that often. So I'm kind of careful about who potentially is in here because I don't want to pass out past them. You know, I really want to go in and go chill in the back, but I'm not a member. But yeah, I'm trying to debate going in there now. But anyway, so the next thing that she shared with her was, you know my husband like you, right? Well, he thinks you're attractive. And she was like, what? He's like, yeah, I know what he likes, and he thinks you're attractive. Not that he's been rude or anything like that. We've had conversations. Well, we know we did, because like one time we was hitting around having a watch. And she asked me, I was like, well, you gotta get her. I ain't gonna get her. I'm coming across with this creepy guy, right? We're trying to spice things up. In that regard, even though that was even somewhat limited with the idea of somebody watching me, that's neither here nor there. But when the question came,
just to pause it for a minute. In your relationship with Brodus, did you outline rules for him on being able to seek out a girlfriend from Jacksonville, knowing from where it was not true?
Not true.
Were you the one who initiated the conversation about Latasha?
Yeah.
Did you ever reach out to Latasha about Brodus engaging with her?
No.
Did he ever talk to you about wanting a watcher, as he described here?
No.
Did you ever agree to having a watcher, as he discussed here?
No.
Came up, it was her, right there. She asked, who would you want? And that was the first name I said. She's like, I know you like her. I know her. So anyway, so she said, like you know, da, da, da. And she said, well, if you were interested, just know, I'm not saying that you are, but I'm also saying I've given him this X, Y, Z, and he may come your way. And she did. But she's like, okay, cool. So we had a conversation. And after that, that's when the whole nobody in the city thing came. It was more like, I'll give you a pass with her because I essentially gave you the alley. But nobody, nobody. So I'm trying to figure this. So fast forward, I said a whole lot of shit, right? Trying to get to where I'm going. So I've been thinking about the past couple of weeks in terms of expanding, my ethical non-monogamy. Just kind of, so my wife, her and I, we were chatting the other day. I was like, well, baby, I got a couple of questions. I'm just curious, She knows about the group, everything like that. So I was like, when did you want to?
Just to ask a couple questions real quick. Did you ever have that conversation that he talks about with Latasha?
No.
Did you ever have that conversation that he talks about with him?
No.
Did you ever give him the XYZ that he was talking about?
No.
Did you ever give him a pass for Latasha?
No.
Did he ever talk to you about further expanding ethical monogamy in your relationship?
No.
No. Like, when did you want to know that there's someone who has my interests or someone who I would like to pursue? Did you want to know the moment that I feel like it's more than just banter? Do you want to know at the moment that I would like to begin to banter? Do you want to know once I feel like it might be a thing beyond banter? Or what? Because this is kind of new for us, right? Because, girlfriend, Tasha, that's easy. That's been 2 years. That's been it for the most part. Outside of me going, that's out of my birthday. But it's kind of been easy in that regard. So just trying to figure out what does that look like. So just kind of really thinking through where I am with that, right? Where in terms of those. So there's a lot of newness. I kind of said that just to say that there's still a lot of newness even in this ethical non-monogamy that I'm wrestling with. And it's fun, right? It's fun, it's interesting, it's causing us to communicate and chat and really talk again about different things that we've kind of, in a real sense, have been settled to some degree. But realizing that in this ethical non-monogamy, we got to keep things in pencil and not pen. Some things are in pencil, pen, right? There's some hard news, but it got to be inflexible in terms of what that looks like. So that's why I know you talking about being sprung and giddy and all that stuff. I think because those flutters or those emotions, right, or those initial thoughts are all kind of new and very much new because this person is brand new. Like, I don't know Sheree, right? I knew Tasha. That was different. There was some level of familiarity there. And that's typically how I've always engaged women, right? With some level of familiarity. I cannot, whether being in the same class again in terms of college or something like that, I've never kind of quote unquote cold called anyone, if that makes sense. Because I'm not, I don't think I'm that guy. So, yeah. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I don't know if I'm going to go in here. Now I'm thinking, how far would we go downtown? Because I'm like, there's a lot of folk in there. I don't know if I trust who's in that room right now. Shit. I just need to do better with smoking houses, cigar houses.
Did he ever have that conversation with you about when he needed to tell you if he was wanting to banter with someone or when it would go past banter with someone?
No.
That never happened?
No.
Did he ever, did you hear him reference going out of town on his birthday?
I thought I heard that.
Did he ever tell you about a threesome out of town on his birthday?
No.
Did you hear him mention the name Cherie?
I did hear that.
Do you know who Cherie is?
I don't believe so.
Did y'all ever talk about how ethical non-monogamy could make your relationship better?
No.
None of that ever happened?
No.
Armor bearer and brother advice at this point, and I know Danielle, you won't hear. Michelle probably doing something else, but so I want to talk to y'all about my new friend, right? The one who I kicked everybody to the curb on. So she hit me today with a boss move of boss moves and asked that I want to hook up next week. After she gets back from being out of town, that threw me the fuck off. Like, wow. Like, so she gets back on Friday. She was like, hey, we hang out Friday and Saturday. My only concern is that she is waiting a callback for an interview for a process. And she said it may be next Saturday, right? And I know that she would leave, of course, for that. And even if I'm going to Atlanta, she's about 100 miles away, she would ditch me, right? Like, I would force her to say, go, and ditch me, right? But I just don't know. I want to put myself in a situation where potentially we may not be able to hang out in that regard because she got this other stuff that she's worried about. But I am, like, high-key shocked and, like, super, like, blushed about it, because like it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like we were talking about other stuff, and he was like, "Hey, what about?" Like, oh, okay, I'm with you. You wasn't expecting to see that while I was in my speech contest. I was just counting stuff on that. I wasn't doing that, but I don't know what to do. I think a couple of things, right? So I live in this other tension. So that means furthering the conversation, right, with the wife, which she's in a good place about that. I think I talked to you about it, that you haven't updated Michelle about it, just in terms of girlfriend who's not taking it as well, I guess. But at the end of the day, I told her, you got to recognize this is about me, this isn't about you, and it doesn't make sense for my wife to allow me to be open with my girlfriend has an issue. Like, so she's kind of chewing that, because I think in theory we've talked about this day coming, right? But it's never been a reality. Right, so I think that she's wrestling with the reality. I think that your ideas, your thoughts, yesterday was so, like, it hit me like a ton of bricks because I never thought about it like that. But that made so much sense. And it's not that I want to be disrespectful. It's not that I don't want to be ethical. But I do wrestle with that. And I just kind of talking to your perspective about what you saw. But I was like, I think that could be what this is in terms of treating this like an infidelity kind of relationship on purpose with permission versus an additional partner scenario. So I feel that. But y'all, she asked me to hook up with close. We're close. When we were in Little Rock. She lives in Little Rock, so we're in Memphis now. I mean, it's only 2 hours away, but yes, we were in Little Rock. So we were literally that, because it was at that point. Wife was like, yeah, nobody at home. Like, this is an exception because I kind of threw you that. But, no, you ain't dealing with nobody else. Like, that was Jacksonville, so our heart knows that no Jacksonville, which is hometown for us, no exes, and no place in your current city. Those are the hard no's, right? She got an exception because it was there that she realized, well, yeah, I don't think I want him to be dealing with all these people, all these women, and no doubt these women would be in the church because that's all we do is kind of hang around, or in the community or close enough. So it was kind of one of those things.
Was Latasha Daniels an exception to your rules?
No.
Did you create rules about Jacksonville?
No.
Did you create rules about exes?
No.
Did you create rules about the city that you live in?
No.
Were those hard no's for you?
No.
Was any extramarital affair a hard no for you?
They were all hard no's for me.
Before I can say a word, she hits me with, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Sorry for what?" So then she goes into the whole, "I apologize for breaching your trust, breaching your confidence by telling my boss, my former boss before, about the situation." Her reasoning was that she felt like if, like you all said, if he could appeal to my quote-unquote greater senses, that I would realize the mistake that I would be making by losing such a wonderful woman. She also apologized. I said that she apologized to Tabitha when Tabitha talked. She told me that Tabitha told her that their conversation was their conversation until she revealed it, so she was not going to talk about the contents with which what they discussed. She basically said, "I feel like I know what you're going to tell me." And at this...
Who is P?
He is our friend and former pastor.
Is that Philip Pointer? And he was also a pastor at St. Mark's.
Correct.
Did you know that Pastor Pointer knew about the relationship with LaTosha?
No.
A lot of things pointed to her having full knowledge of the threesome and extramarital relationship, but she denied any of it. That doesn't give LaTosha the reason to kill him when he decided to end things with her. LaTosha believed she had done the right thing. She pleaded not guilty and believes Broads deserves what he got. She believed he wasn't supposed to leave her no matter what. Even though they agreed to have a threesome and was supposed to maintain her side chick position but never did. She was grilled in the court and she cried multiple times, even though some people believed she only did that for the camera so she can get out of the case.
Can you please state and spell your name?
LaTosha, L-A-T-O-S-H-I-A, Daniels, D-A-N-I-E-L-S.
Before we get into all of the allegations here, have you ever testified in a situation like this before?
No,
Is this a comfortable situation?
not at all.
Please let me know if you need anything, okay? I want to talk to you about, first, your childhood. Your childhood, okay?
Okay.
Can you tell me about your parents?
My parents, my father was retired military and a minister, and my mom, she was my mother.
Was your biological father the man that you called Dad?
No, I was raised by my stepfather, and so I called him father, and my biological father I called Papa.
Did you get married?
I did,
And was that to Rodney?
yes.
How would you describe your relationship with Rodney?
In the beginning, it was good. We both had graduated from high school, and so we was building a life together. We moved from our hometown to Little Rock, Arkansas, and purchased a home, and we were doing well. Rodney decided to go to police academy, and during that time I helped him. I made sure he studied. I did everything that I could to ensure that he made it through police academy and was successful. Once he, probably months after joining the force, things began to shift. He would ask me to do certain things that I was like out of the norm, but I was in college, and so he would then say, well, you're probably going to want somebody from college, and I didn't understand that because like I loved Rodney. I wanted our family. But even though we didn't argue, we grew distant, and I never understood why until I found out that he was having an affair.
Did you actually catch him in the act?
Not in the beginning, but during he decided that we was going to separate. And one day while I was at school, he had packed up all my stuff, put it in a U-Haul, and drove it to my mom's house.
How long were you married to Romy?
For 4 years.
Did you eventually get divorced?
We did.
Okay. Now, after that divorce, did you attempt suicide?
I actually did it right before we actually finalized the divorce.
Did you commit suicide because of the divorce? I'm sorry, attempt to commit suicide because of the divorce.
Yes, I just didn't feel like I felt like a failure. That was the one thing. I felt like a failure. I didn't think that I was enough. And so I didn't feel I had anything to offer.
But you did go on to get an education, right?
I did.
And you didn't let your divorce or your teen pregnancy, you didn't let those things stop you from trying to get better in your life, right?
Right. I wanted to push forward. I wanted to be successful. And I mean, I had to be. So I kept going.
And you eventually became a licensed clinical social worker.
I did.
Now, I want to talk to you about your second marriage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was to Brian.
Yes.
Now, how long were you married to Brian?
I was married to Brian for 8 years.
Was that relationship positive?
No.
Did you feel loved in that relationship?
No.
Did you feel wanted in that relationship?
Not at all.
Would you describe Brian as being emotionally distant?
He very much was so.
Emotionally neglectful?
Yes.
Did you try to get Brian to go into marriage counseling?
Yes, we had a discussion and he didn't want to do it.
Did you determine that you would go get your own counseling?
Yes.
Did you go see a psychologist?
I did not.
Why?
Because of the field that I was in, I just wanted, I wanted spiritual guidance, but also because of me being in private practice, I was afraid of being that individual that was getting the water cooler talk per se. Just in my field, I didn't have anyone that I felt like I could really go to and trust because I was very closed off. I didn't share my business with anybody. And so going through that and being in private practice, I didn't want to take what was my income because I needed to be able to take care of the things in my life. So I did not. But I did know that spiritually I wanted some direction.
When you approached Brodus Perry about counseling, did you explain why you wanted counseling?
I did.
What did you tell him?
I told him that my husband and I were having some marital issues and I just needed to figure out spiritually which direction I just needed some spiritual guidance on direction.
Did Pastor Perry agree to meet with you?
He did.
Where did y'all meet?
We met in my office.
Why?
I didn't feel comfortable with being in the church and I wanted to be in a safe space because this was again something that I was not fully embracing that I had to deal with, and I wanted to be in a space where I knew that I could be able to be vulnerable.
During the first counseling session, what did you discuss?
Everything that was going on within my marriage.
How long was the first counseling session?
It was about 2 hours.
Were you emotional during that process?
Yes.
Were you open?
I was.
Did you tell him very personal, private things?
I did.
how long, well, at the end of that session, did you determine at that time that you were going to ask for a second session?
Yes.
How long until you had a second session?
It was approximately 2 to 3 weeks before the next one.
Did it feel good to get all of that off of your chest?
Yes.
Did you reach out to Brodus Perry for a second counseling session?
I did.
Did he say that he would come do a second counseling session?
He did.
When you had your second counseling session, did you ask him about any odd behavior from the first session?
I did.
What was that?
In the first session, from the moment he walked through the door, he had his hands in his coat pocket, his jacket pocket, and he sat there the entire time during the session with his hands in his pocket. So I found that to be a little strange, but I didn't say anything in the first session, so I asked him during the section session, because he came in and he didn't have his hands in his pocket, and I was like, what was that with you having your hands in your pockets? And at that time he told me it was because he was trying to maintain his professionalism.
Was that the first time that you had any indication that he might be interested in you?
That was the first time.
Did you proceed to start with the second counseling session?
We did.
What happened after you started the counseling session?
As I was talking and sharing, Brodus reached over and grabbed, I had a 2-arm share, and he pulled me toward him and began to passionately kiss me. And from there, in that session, we did have sex for the first time.
Were you proud of that encounter?
In hindsight, no, but at that time, he was giving me everything that I had been missing for a long time.
Did you know that he was married?
I did.
Did you know his wife?
I had, at that time, I had seen her at church, but didn't know of her.
You got to know her better later?
Yes.
How did you feel about the fact that Brodus was married?
At that time, honestly, I did not think about it. I knew that we both were married, and I was engaged in what he was giving me.
Had you had any attention like that in a long time?
No, I hadn't.
Had
In
you
years.
had any emotional attention?
Not in years.
Physical attention?
Not like that, no.
After your counseling sessions, did you end up getting divorced?
That was in February, and I did end up getting divorced in December of that year.
That's when it was finalized?
Yes.
And did Pastor Perry encourage you to get divorced?
We talked about it, and there were times whenever we would be on trips, he would make mention of, oh, we can't do that until you get a divorce, or we can't do this until you get a divorce.
Now, I want to talk to you about your relationship with Brodus Perry, okay?
Okay.
After y'all had sex, did Brodus give you any particular instructions?
Yes. He immediately told me to download a app for us to be able to communicate. That app was called Confide.
Tell the jury what the Confide app did.
The Confide app, it's whenever you would send a message, and when you read that message, it would disappear. You couldn't screenshot it or anything like that. It would immediately disappear once you took your finger off the screen.
Did he set any other rules for your relationship?
Yes. As far as it came to trips that he wanted me to go on with him, I was the one who had to pay my way as far as airfare or travel, and then he would, you know, his words would, he would then take care of the rest, meaning that I would have somewhere to stay. When I was in the hotel rooms, I was to stay naked. I couldn't have on any clothes. I had to, and the only way I would have clothes on is if, like, you know, we were getting ready to go out. But other than that, when in the hotel room, I had to be naked. I couldn't, if something was to have happened to him as far as medically, he did not want me to call 911. I would have to call, who we referenced him as the professor, but it was Pastor Pointer. I would have to call him in order to get him emergency attention. He said verbatim lots of times, do not call 911.
Did he add any rules towards the end of your relationship?
At the end of the relationship, he wanted me to say yes, sir, and no, sir to him.
Now, I want to kind of break those down individually, okay?
Okay.
You were required to use the Confide app.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the travel, okay? What kind of trips did Brodus want you to come on?
The very first one was to Vegas. He had some convention or something that he was at, and so that was the first one. He had invited me to go to Cuba with him that year, but he ended up right at the last minute changing it, saying that Tabitha wanted to go with him, so she went with him, and he was like, well, since you're not going to Cuba, go ahead and sign up to go to Israel for the church group trip. So I signed up to go to Israel and paid my way for that. I traveled with him to Savannah whenever he would go with Pastor Pointer.
Were there some trips that were for the pastors?
Yes.
And then other trips that were for the church group members?
The only church group that trip we went on was to Israel. The rest of them would be if he was doing something on his own, I guess, speaking engagement wise, or if he was following Pastor Pointer.
And then were there also personal trips?
And then we had personal trips.
If Brodus told you that he wanted you to go on that trip, was it expected that you would be on that trip?
I was on that trip.
Now I want to talk to you about the hotel room rule, okay? What would happen when Brodus would walk in and you were wearing clothing in a hotel room?
Once I did it and just, I don't know if I was cold or what, but when he was like, why do you still have on clothes? And when that happened, he withdrew affection from me. Like he was very cold, didn't want to be intimate until after I got undressed. But even then, it was then like a punishment I had to wait for him to decide that he was going to then give affection.
At the beginning of your relationship, at some point, did Tabitha go to Florida?
Yes, in 2017, it was around, I think, October. Brodus said that he had sent Tabitha back to Florida and that they were separated. He said that he just needed, he was feeling this urge of, he had this thing of saying that he was always wanting to be single. He never knew what it meant to be a single man. And so in that instance, he was sending her back so he could explore that to some degree.
Did he indicate to you that they were separated?
Yes.
How long was she in Florida?
At least to after Christmas.
So over a month?
Yes.
2 months?
Yes.
And during that period of time, were you staying with him a lot?
Yes, I stayed probably about 3 or 4 nights with him during that time. And we also went out of the country.
I want to talk to you now about ethical non-monogamy, okay?
Yes.
Did Brodus talk to you about ethical non-monogamy?
Yes.
Was this a lifestyle that he was interested in?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what Brodus told you about ethical non-monogamy? What is it?
It is where individuals are able to have multiple relationships, but everyone in the relationship must consent.
Did Brodus tell you that he had talked to Tabitha about ethical non-monogamy?
He did.
Did he tell you that Tabitha had said she was comfortable with it, but he just hadn't told her about you yet?
He said that she had given him permission to be open on his side of the marriage.
So she was not allowed to be open on her side?
Correct.
But he told you that she had given him permission to go outside.
Yes.
But he had not told her about you, to your knowledge.
No, not to my knowledge.
Did Brodus ever give you a book to read?
The Ethical Slut is the book that he wanted me to read so that I could have a more foundation and knowledge of this lifestyle that he was wanting to be in.
Did you read that book?
I did.
Were you interested in the lifestyle espoused by that book?
No, I was not.
How soon into the relationship did Brodus Perry start discussing this concept of ethical non-monogamy?
Actually, it started, so we were just having conversations about things in life that we wanted to do, bucket list type of things that we were curious in. And at that time, he was like, one of the things I want to do is have a threesome. And I was like, yeah, no, that's nothing I've ever thought about. But he was like, well, I've had one before, but I paid for it. And this time I want to have one where I don't have to pay for it. And so he began to speak about, the term he would use is Tabitha and I being sister wives. Didn't quite know what that meant, but as things went on, he would start to talk about me watching them have sex. And he was like, but I think she'll be on board with it, just give it time. But so this would be the dialogue. And that dialogue just continued on to where it went from watchers to now wanting to have the threesomes, and then that's when the ethical slut was introduced. And so it was just like a progression of this lifestyle that he wanted.
So kind of breaking that down, how far into the relationship did he start discuss wanting a watcher with you?
It was pretty early on. I would have to say it was before they took their trip to Cuba, which was around his birthday in May, that he began to talk. He was talking about the watcher. So that was 3 months.
Was that a different trip than the birthday trip that he took where he had the threesome?
Yes, that was a different trip.
Okay. Did the threesome birthday trip happen while y'all were together or before?
It happened while we were together.
Did you know that he was going to do that?
The threesome trip in Cuba?
No, when he went and paid for the threesome.
Oh, that was well before I knew him.
Okay. At any point, did you watch him and Tabitha have sex?
No.
Was Tabitha ever invited to watch you and Brodus have sex?
No.
Were you comfortable with the concept of a watcher?
No.
Was Brodus persistent about a watcher?
Very much so.
Explain that for me.
Everywhere we went, he would even text me and say, "Hey, you need to find us a watcher. Find us a watcher." And so I got to the point I was like, if I can find somebody, hopefully I can get him to stop. So I asked a friend of mine if she would do it for us, and she was like, if I do, we're taking it to our grave. He had me to tell her to download Confide, and we were able to dialogue three-way, and the things that he was asking her to do, she just backed out.
Did that whole thing make you very uncomfortable?
Very much so.
Why were you willing to even entertain it?
I wanted to make him happy.
So now I want to talk to you about Brodus wanting to expand the ethical non-monogamy. Well, I guess first, was he actually engaging in ethical non-monogamy?
No.
Tabitha had no idea any of this was going on, right?
No.
As far as you knew, she knew that that's what he wanted, but he hadn't told her.
As far as I knew, correct.
And you've heard differently from even that here.
Yes.
Did Brodus ask you about expanding the relationship beyond you?
He did.
When he asked you about that, how did you respond?
I told him I didn't want to.
Did he tell you, well, my wife's on board with it, so why isn't my girlfriend?
That's exactly what he said.
Did that cause problems between you and Brodus?
At first, no, but as it continued to go on, it did. Especially after he joined like this, he called it a book club, but they met on Marco Polo talking about the book, The Ethical Slut. And so the more that he engaged in that, it became to where it was, because he was more like, why are you not on board with this? And I'm like, why would I be? Like, it doesn't make sense, because we already have limited time together. So why would I say, yes, you can be able to be with multiple women? And so it was that part, it was hard.
Did you love Brodus Perry?
I shouldn't have, but I did.
Were you in love with Brodus Perry?
I was.
Were you wanting to build a life with Brodus Perry?
I wanted what we had at that time, yes.
And y'all saw each other frequently, right? We
saw each other just about every day. I would cook for him, and so he would come to my office to eat lunch. If he didn't come to the office, I would drop it off for him. But it got to the point to where he knew my code to my office, so he would just come in. He knew where to get his lunch, warm it up, and if I had a session, of course, he would wait out in his vehicle, but other than that, he would come in and we would sit there and have lunch every day.
How did Brodus react when you told him that you were not open to expanding to allow him to have more girlfriends? He was emotionally distant. Like, well, he would just he would tell me, well, you need to go and find someone. And I'd be like, I don't want anyone but you. And so he knew that would play on like my insecurities. So one time when he said, you need to go out and find someone, I said, well, what if I do? And he said, well, then we won't be together. So he knew that was going to get to me because I wanted to be with him. I enjoyed our time together when we did have it. And so he used the emotional part, the affection. He would give it to me, withdraw it if I wasn't really complying with what he wanted. I'm going to rephrase my question a little bit, okay? At some point, did a situation arise where you had to pay back money to the church for Brodus?
Yes.
How much was that?
The debt was $2,500, but I ended up getting him $2,300, and he got very upset with me about it.
Why did he get upset with you about it?
Because he wanted me to do the full price.
And that was not your debt, right?
No.
So, did Brodus talk to you when this other church reached out to him?
He did.
Did he discuss with you whether or not he should accept it?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
I told him I thought it was a great opportunity for him.
Why?
Because of the things that was being shared to me, that some things he was dealing with within the employment at St. Mark. I thought that would be a great thing for him. So he sent me his resume, told me to change it to performance-based, and I did that, and he went to the interview.
Is Mississippi Boulevard a prestigious church?
To my knowledge.
And you're not from here, right?
No.
You've never lived in Memphis?
I have not.
Did he eventually, to your knowledge, accept that position at Mississippi Boulevard?
Yes.
Did the church have a going away party for Brodus and Tabitha Perry?
I planned a going away party. Actually, he had two. He had one at the Cigar Lounge and then one for the church.
Who planned the party at the Cigar Lounge?
I did.
Who planned the party at the church?
I did.
Who paid for the majority of the gifts?
I did. And then he gave me a backstory on how to be able to elicit money from the other members of the church so that he could have a certain amount of money for when he left.
What do you mean?
Like it was, hey, reach out to the life groups and tell them, I'm going away and we're going to do monetary gifts. So that's what I did.
Did he get monetary gifts from that?
He did.
Before Brodus left, did he give you his new address in Memphis?
Yes.
Now, I want to talk to you about after they moved, okay?
Okay.
Did your relationship with Brodus Perry continue after he moved to Memphis?
Yes.
Would Brodus come back to Little Rock?
He would.
Do you know why he would come? Why he would come back?
Yes. The main reason why he would come back is because of his orthodontics appointments. And then also he was building up a business and a consulting business, and he was beginning to he had one client that he was coming back to begin to do some consulting with.
What would happen when he came in town between the two of y'all?
We would meet up at the hotel and hang out.
I want to, and was that he would come in town and he would contact you?
Yes.
And y'all would get together?
Yes.
Now I want to talk to you about April the 15th. I'm sorry, not April the 15th, March the 15th of 2019, okay?
Okay.
Did Brodus come in town that day?
He did.
Did he text you?
He did.
Did you meet him at the hotel?
I did.
Do you recall what hotel?
I think it may have been Spring Hill.
What happened after you went to the hotel?
The first time I went to the hotel, it was, just a drop off. He had asked me to bring him, to go buy him something to eat and to stop by and get him some bourbon. After I brought that to him, we made an agreement to meet up later on. I had called him and as it was getting later and say, hey, what time are we going to meet up? And he was just like, I don't know, I'll let you know. But he never called. So I was at home and I was like, I'm just gonna break up with him. Like I'm not gonna do this treatment. Like no. I went to the lounge. I still had some gifts to give him, and he was coming out. And I said, unlock your car, and I started putting the gifts in. Well, once he got closer to me, he just hugged me and gave me the key to the room and was like, go to the room. So I was like, okay, and I did.
Once he hugged you, was it all better?
It was.
Is that kind of how it went with Brodus?
Yes.
So tell me about what happened after that.
That was one of the times that I still had my clothes on. So of course, when he got in there, he's like, why you still got clothes on? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got undressed. I did tell him, I said, I was coming to break up with you because of the way you're treating me. And he laughed it off and was like, well, why didn't you? And I was like, because I really do love you. He came over to the bed, started tickling me. We laughed it off. And then as we began to engage in what I thought was going to be lovemaking, was not that night.
Can you tell me what happened?
As I was performing oral sex on him, he began to thrust himself inside my mouth really hard. And I told him that was hurting. Then he grabbed my hair. I had long hair, and he wrapped my hair around his hand and he started yanking it. And when he wasn't thrusting himself in my mouth, he was pulling my hair really hard. And with his other hand, he would just hit me and hit me and hit me. And I was like, it's hurting. And he was like, you better not bite me. You better not bite me. And then after that, we had sex, and it was just rough, and it was hard, and it was just not what I was used to. And then once we finished, something he never ever does was he rolled over and just gave me the cold shoulder, and I was like, "You're not gonna hold me?" And he was like, "No," and just went to sleep.
How did that make you feel?
I felt so used.
Did that affect you emotionally?
Yes. I was just like, what has always happened to me?
Did you decide anything when you were in that emotional state?
Well, that particular night, I just was, that morning, we stayed the night together, and that morning he got up and he left. He was getting dressed, and I was like, "Where are you going?" Like, we always showered together. And he was like, and I was like, "Where are you going with still smelling like me?" And he was like, "None of your business." I was like, "Since when did you not tell me your schedule?" And he left. Well, he was getting ready to leave, so I got up and I got dressed, and as I got dressed, I grabbed the key card for the room off the thing, and he laughed it off, and I left. And later on, I texted and said, "Hey, are we meeting up again?" And he was like, "I'll let you know." Of course, the day went on. I had rearranged everything, thinking that he was going to end up we would see each other earlier that day, but I didn't. And so that night, when I still didn't hear from him, I decided to head to the room, and as I was going, he was there. But in my wanting to head to the room, I had made the decision that I would put myself in front of him, because I just wanted him to feel the pain that he was causing me. So when we got in the room, he was already in there by the time I parked and got in. And I pulled out my gun and I told him, "You about to feel the same pain that you've been giving me."
Did you ever threaten him?
No.
Did you threaten yourself?
I told him I was gonna be off.
What did he do?
He began to tell me no, and he kept saying that he loved me and that we can fix it. And I was just like, "No, you're treating me so bad." And he was just like, "That's not, I love you, I love you." And eventually he talked me into putting the gun on the counter and coming over and sitting and talking to him.
Did that restore a reason for you to live in that moment?
It did.
Was this the first time that you had gotten to the point of hopelessness, that you felt like you needed to kill yourself?
Not in a relationship, no.
Have you struggled for a long time with depression and suicidal ideations?
Yes.
After Brodas convinced you to put down the gun, did he take the gun away from you?
No.
Did he take the gun from the counter?
It wasn't until I got ready to leave when I went back to try to get it, and then he pushed me out of the way and he got it.
He didn't want you to be able to leave with the gun?
No.
And was he worried what you would do with it?
Yes, but he made me promise to meet him the next morning at the lounge.
Do you know where he put the gun?
At that time, I did not.
But he kept it from you, right?
Yes.
What happened after you said you were going to leave?
Tabitha got up, he got up, and so she began to tell me about watching for the police, because I had been drinking.
Had you drank a lot?
No, not at all. But she still was just letting me know. And she began to walk toward the door. And I asked him, would he walk me out? He said no. And I said, why not, sir? That's Southern hospitality for you to walk a woman outside when it's dark. Because I wanted to just get him to see like what happened. Why didn't you follow through? But he refused to walk me out. So Tabitha opened the door and was walking out. I was still trying to get him to walk me out. And as I reached into my pockets to get my keys, I remember being outside the door, and then the next thing I was standing in their kitchen.
Do you deny that you shot Brodus Perry?
I do not.
Do you deny that you shot Tabitha?
I don't, but I know it wasn't intentional.
Did you mean to shoot Tabitha?
No, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
When you went to that apartment that day, did you intend to use your gun on either Brodus or Tabitha?
No.
When you went there, what was your purpose in going there?
Thinking that I was going to get some kind of ending to the relationship.
And what do you mean?
Like, okay, of course, after I got to, talking to him at the lounge, we had a plan. It was either going to be a start or an ending, but it was something that I could see, like I knew it wasn't just a disappearing text, but still, I love you, So I went to the apartment, I guess, for lack of a better word, to get some resolve.
Did you have hope, given that Tabitha was open to the open marriage?
I was nervous about that because, like I said, he had told me she had these rules about not nobody that you know and things like that. So I'm like, she knows me. So I don't know what that was going to be like. I didn't even think about anything beyond that.
As far as Tabitha goes, this is a person that you became friendly with, right?
Correct.
How did you balance that with having an affair with her husband?
It was very hard. She, like, we started off, she had approached me to invite me to lunch. It came out of nowhere, and I didn't know, like, what was really going on, because by this time, Brodus had been talking about us being sister wives, and so when she asked me, I was a little confused, because I'm like, okay, has he talked to her about it? But she never said anything about our relationship. Even when we began to play tennis, it was her who initiated it. So it was uncomfortable for me, but we were friendly. And it was hard, but I still did it because I wasn't going to tell her, because I love Brodus.
When Brodus told you that he wouldn't walk you outside, he said, Tab will do it. How did that make you feel?
Rejected, unworthy, stupid. I was so stupid. And it hurt so bad.
Were you angry or were you hurt?
I was hurt.
Were you thinking clearly when you pulled the trigger?
No.
Were you reacting to that situation?
Yes.
Was that a traumatic situation for you too, in retrospect?
Oh, yes. I hate what happened. I'm so very sorry. I never wanted to hurt anybody. I've spent most of my life helping. I never would intentionally try to hurt anybody.
Did you ever plan to kill Brodus Perry?
Never.
When you drove to Memphis, were you driving to Memphis to kill Brodus Perry?
No.
Why did you drive to Memphis?
I drove because I just wanted to see him.
Why?
I wanted him to explain why he did that.
Did you hope he would say, we can be together?
Yes,
Did he give you that hope when you went to the apartment?
he did.
Did he yank that hope away?
He did.
Did
As
you,
he often did.
did you break in that moment?
I shattered.
Did you ever intend to hurt Tabitha?
No,
Did you even realize that you had shot her?
no.
That's all I had.
Cross-examination.
At the end of the trial, she was found guilty of second-degree murder.
Find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder.
A week-long trial comes to an end with a guilty verdict as Latasha Daniels is convicted of second-degree murder in the death of Pastor Brodus Perry. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst. A jury delivered the verdict a little after 6:30 tonight, finding Daniels guilty on 2 counts of the indictment and not guilty of the third. WRIG's Raven Copeland has reaction.
A jury of your peers has found you guilty.
After 2 hours of deliberations, a jury found Latasha Daniels guilty in the shooting death of Brodus Perry and the shooting of his wife Tabitha in 2019. Daniels was found not guilty of employment of a firearm during a felony. The 46-year-old was convicted of second-degree murder and reckless endangerment. Throughout the trial, Daniels' attorneys never denied that she shot Perry or his wife, but said it was a crime of passion fueled by Perry's alleged manipulation.
That's why we did push for that voluntary manslaughter and the reckless endangerment, because she was under such emotional distress when this happened that she was not thinking clearly.
However, the prosecution argued that Daniels' decision to purchase a gun and drive 2.5 hours from Arkansas to Memphis was proof of premeditation.
We had proved that it was a knowing killing of another person, but we just didn't quite get there on premeditation. And like I said, we can disagree with it and respect it at both at the same time.
After Friday's verdict, your news leader asked the defense how Daniels felt after her conviction.
I think she's a little bit in shock. I think she's struggling with the idea that she's going to probably have to spend at least another decade in prison. But I think she also understands that, this happened for a reason.